What's up, everybody? Cleaning my apartment because I need to clean my apartment. And I'm also unemployed, so I've been trying to make content. I don't know why, just to keep me busy. And I know that there's so many people out there that I do follow on the internet. And for the longest time, I was a consumer of content. And then I'm just like, why don't I just create content? Not really sure why. Maybe it's because there's so many people that I've watched, like growing up on YouTube and stuff, that inspired me to do it. And yeah, I'm also unemployed, so I get existential dread if I get so many rejection emails and I put too much of my self pride into working a corporate job, to be honest. And it's not like if I, or when I do get a job offer, uh, that's going to solve my problems of that existential dread that I have. Um, but yeah, here I am doing some dishes. It's Wednesday afternoon. I just went to a coffee shop, read a little bit of the big book in Alcoholics Anonymous, which I'm getting back into. I'm three years and 3 months sober. August 8th, 2021 is my sobriety date. Recovering alcoholic. And yeah, just kind of working through unemployment, trying to be good to myself, trying to get back to some of the shit that worked for me early on in my sobriety, like allowing myself to feel emotions and shit. So it's kind of where I'm at right now. It's been beautiful, to be honest. Like, I've been very calm the past like week or two. I've been connecting with people. I've felt the importance of putting myself out there and getting involved in my community more, and it's inspired me to get up off my couch and get out of my apartment more. And honestly, like, I probably wouldn't be making this video or trying to make this video if I didn't allow myself to feel some emotions that I was burying for a while. And yeah, life's generally speaking been pretty good the last few weeks. There's always things that I wish were better. But for the most part, everything that I can control, I'm happy and proud with how I've been controlling them. And what I'm most proud of the past few weeks is understanding that there is a lot of things in this world that I can't control and probably never will be able to control. And I've given that sort of power, or I'm working to give that sort of power and belief that, I don't know how I'm trying to say this. I guess I'm just connecting more to a higher power, to be honest. And I've never been like a God guy. That's not true. I've never just been a church person. Like, I've never gone to church. I truly don't even know if I've been like baptized. I've never had a communion or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think I've kind of always believed in like a higher power, and I believe that if anyone close to me has passed and is no longer here with me and us, they're able to kind of see how I'm doing, um, and maybe connect with me on certain ways. So that allows me to truly believe that there's something a lot bigger than just us humans on this planet. And I've been connecting with that idea, and I've been allowing myself to give that higher power, uh, the control. So I do think a lot of the reasons that maybe I had so much difficulty in even allowing the idea of like church and God to come into play is because I am a recovering alcoholic and I have an alcoholic mind. And what an alcoholic mind wants, or at least what my mind consistently wants, is total control and the ability to fix anything and everything in my life. And it's a miserable, miserable way to live. Trust me, I've lived it for years. So just working right now to understand the importance of being healthy. And I've been good about my physical health for the most part this past year or so, but I haven't been good about my mental health. And you can't just go to the gym and say everything's good. Not to say that it's not a part of it. You should still keep going to the gym and you should still keep moving your body and exercising and eating right, but you can't just do that and be like, yep, got my mental health covered. So admitting to myself that I haven't been in the best place mentally the past year or so is a huge step in that. Luckily had someone in my life kind of mention it or just challenge me a little bit with how I've been feeling and if I've been truthful with myself, and that allowed me to take a step outside of my mental state and accept my feelings. So grateful for a lot of great people in my life that allow me to challenge myself and push myself and recognize when maybe I'm not living to my potential or at least just living a happy life. So yeah, life's super challenging. I mean, I'm 27. Uh, I recognized I kind of had a problem with drinking very early on, probably in my high school days at like 17 years old. Um, and yeah, kind of just thought it was a drinking problem and nothing else. But it took me getting sober to realize that a substance abuse problem is way deeper than just you and your problem with the substance. It's a problem with yourself, it's a problem with traumas and tons of other things that need to be dug up for years and years and years and maybe a lifetime for you to uncover what life truly is to you and what purpose you want to put behind your life. So life's hard. It's hard for everybody. And it's good to remind yourself of that. And it's good to be reminded of that as well through, unfortunately, some unfortunate situations like having mental breakdowns, which I'd probably say I had one about 3 weeks ago where I just didn't sleep for almost 2 days. Cried a lot. What didn't really allow myself to feel things for the last year, so I kind of cried on that premise. Um, really had no appetite. My body was just like in fight or flight, super tense. And then I pulled myself out of it a little bit with the help of so many people. It wasn't just me. Um, and I'm super proud of how I responded to that feeling of like having a mental breakdown. And I went to AA for the first time in a long, long time. Like 4 days after having that breakdown. And I decided to share. I felt compelled to share. And I essentially just said, the reason I'm here today is because I'm incredibly proud of how I kind of bounced back from that mental breakdown because I reached out to my sober community. I prayed to my higher power. I told people close to me that I was struggling. I was honest with myself. And I gave myself grace. I allowed myself to feel. And I didn't relapse. I didn't drink. Even though during those moments, it's really easy to be like, the only thing I want to do right now is not be inside my brain. So the thought of drinking gets you out of it temporarily. So I'm just grateful that I didn't do it. And I shared that the reason I'm truly here is because I did all those things. I connected with all these people. And still, when I did feel proud, I went to bed that night and there was a little voice in the back of my head that said, like, this feeling isn't going to last forever. And you might wake up anxious and depressed and sad again tomorrow. Um, so that's just why I was like, whoa, this is like bigger than just me pulling myself out of a mental breakdown. This is me recognizing that I need support. I need community. I need people in my life to show me what's important. And, it comes with like connecting with loved ones and friends and being open and vulnerable and honest. Like, how sick and tired would you get if you connected with people you love, friends, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, and you just had the same kind of basic conversations over and over again. Like, life is worth so much, and sometimes like breaking down, crying, and being vulnerable and being open and honest and having difficult conversations is living. Like, that's what I'm learning. So it's good to fucking cry and shit and feel shit. I was just like proud that I allowed myself to feel shit recently, and I have been working to allow myself to feel shit recently, and I'm starting to become more clear. Um, it's starting to become more clear how my negative thought patterns impact my way of life. So that's where I've been at. Still looking for work though. If anyone's out there on the job hunt, can't even imagine how many applications you've probably sent out and connections you've reached out to, and having that sort of existential dread that I was talking about earlier. Like, that definitely led me to a big part of the breakdown. It's just like putting so much of my emphasis in my life to like my job title and the pay I was making. It's crazy. I had some, I would say, wildly successful years, professionally speaking and financially speaking, at a very young age. Like I said, I'm 27, and a few years ago, I found myself at a small tech startup. I was making $50,000 when I started, and when my last day, I was making around 100 base, and then I was making commission on top of that. We got acquired by a big company. Company got bought out for $100 million. Wasn't my company. I didn't obviously like take home $100 million, but yeah, and my financial situation went from kind of sort of paycheck to paycheck, making 50K a year, to not even thinking about finances and traveling and spending money on expensive plane tickets and going to cool places. So I went from trying to get a grasp of a financial situation to not even thinking about finances, to then getting laid off 2 times last year, and then just not really finding a stable job that was great for me this year, and now being unemployed again. I've been unemployed for 9 months out of the last 2 calendar years. So, but now that I've connected to my higher power, I recognize like I wasn't supposed to be making a shitload of money consistently, and it's not up and up and up and up. You don't just make 50K to 100K to 150K to 200K to 250K to 300K year after year after year after year. So that's where I'm at. It's just grateful I have a roof over my head, and like just here doing dishes, and I still have financial stress, but ever since truly I gave that control to my higher power. Um, it hasn't been that big of a pressing issue for me, and I'm super grateful that I have support from people around me, and uh, I have savings that I can dig into, and I just have faith and belief in myself. It's like if I hit $0 in my bank account, I'm gonna be all right. Like, I'm gonna figure it out, and that's super freeing to feel that way. So yeah, job market's crazy, especially if you've been in like tech and you're not a product person, you're a customer facing person. Like, you're probably, I mean, not, I can't generalize this, but like there's been a lot of layoffs. So you might be in that boat, and it allows you to take a step back and realize like that isn't you. You're not your job title. You're not the amount of money you take home every year. Like, you are who you show up for yourself every day, if that makes any sense. Like, you are the person that shows up for yourself every day. So if you show up compassionate, kind, caring, as best you can every single day for yourself, it's going to be portrayed outward to others. So you got to care about yourself first. And yeah, I don't know why I was thinking about this the other day too. It was like when I was really in a dark place early on in my sobriety, I loved Theo Vaughn's podcast this past weekend, because I just thought, for being a guy and for being a funny, like relatable, seemingly like I don't know. He's got a mullet, and I don't know if you've seen his podcast. Like he probably gets some hate, but he was just like someone that I would go to for humor. But then he would get pretty serious and vulnerable and open about his emotions. And I bought a couple of his shirts. One said "Be good to yourself," and I would wear it. And I don't know why I don't have it anymore. I think I got rid of it this past year. I think I probably donated it or whatever because I was like minimalizing and like I put so much of my emphasis into finances because I was like, let me downsize and like let's buy less shit and yada yada yada. And I was moving to a new apartment that's smaller. I was like, I don't have space for this. But I was like, me throwing away that shirt was very symbolic for how I was going to be feeling this past year. It's like I was moving into a studio apartment. I got rid of the "Be Good to Yourself" shirt, and I came here and I stopped being good to myself. Like I needed that reminder. So I think that's part of the reason why I've been like compelled to try and make content and do stuff like this too. Is like that was so. Granted, it's like fleeting. I don't really listen to his podcast that much anymore. I still like it, but like I was like I so needed to like have that reminder, and I so needed to see a guy like that be vulnerable, and he cries on his podcast from time to time, and he's just serious about his sobriety and issues and open. So I needed that shit. So maybe someone out there like needs me to be like, I'm a dude. I'm 27. I struggle with a ton of shit. Like I cry from time to time, even though some like even right now it like kind of is like fuck. I don't want to like admit that. But like life's just fucking hard, dude. It's really hard, and not enough people like admit that to themselves. They're like, "What can I do to make it easier?" Or like, "How can I embrace the suck?" Which I do think embracing the suck is great, but you can't do it without allowing yourself to feel. You can't just let the suck be the only thing you feel. Uh, and I guess that's a jab at Nick Bear and VPN, who's another guy that I look up to a lot, and I used to watch him when I was super skinny and I was in high school, and he would make videos about how he was anorexic, which I never struggled with, but I've definitely had my unhealthy relationships with food and trying to bulk and not be skinny. Still a kind of skinny dude, but he was vulnerable and open and honest about his struggles with anorexia. And that shit goes a long way. Like, I still think about that to this day when I was a high school kid, watching his videos. Uh, but long story short, they mention embrace the suck, and like that's part of their motto, which I do think is great. Like I think that's a great thing, but that just can't be the only way you live. And I think for me this past year, maybe I was just embracing too much suck and not giving myself enough grace because I was like, I'm unemployed, I'm not making money, rent's getting tough, financial situation's getting tough. It's like just go to the gym, go to yoga, try and eat right, be healthy, clean my apartment, do this, do that. Instead of being like, hold on now, let me feel all these things I'm feeling so that way I can try and unpack it and take the right next step forward instead of just like taking a step forward that I was uncertain about. So, and when you allow yourself to feel all these things, and when you maybe do reach a breaking point and you do like cry for the first time in a long time, shit feels good, man. Like, not only did I cry when I had a mental breakdown a few weeks ago, like I laughed a lot too. Like I laughed a lot at myself. I was able to make a little bit more fun about the situation and bring light to it. And humor is beautiful too. And sometimes to feel humor or to show humor, you need to experience like a lot of pain. So 50 Cent, what's sunshine if it wasn't for rain? So yeah, I wouldn't even have these conversations to myself about like Nick Bear and Theo Vaughn if I wasn't actually making this content and realizing how impactful they were on a younger version of myself. And I started making content only a few months ago. I've been blogging about my sobriety for the longest time, but I feel like that doesn't well, now I feel like it doesn't really scratch the itch as much for me. I still love writing and it's great. Lastdropblog.com. Um, but there's more to be uncovered about myself, and doing things like this is uncomfortable and great because it helps me uncover it. Like just now, I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going with this. I'm just doing it as a way to do it. But I did mention those two guys, and there's a bunch of other people out there that I look up to, and I'm like, damn, they had an impact on who I was, how I grew up, how I matured, how I kind of got to where I am today. So I think a lot of people might, me personally, sometimes I'm like, if you create content, like, I don't know, you're like a TikTok dancer kid. But like, nah, it can be impactful and it can be a career. It's crazy. But I don't know. I need to do, I think, like a Q&A, and not even that I have that many followers. I got like 100 on my Instagram and 60 on my TikTok, but I'm just curious, like, what I could maybe say or talk about to help anyone else out there. Sobriety is a huge aspect of my life. Being open, vulnerable, and honest about like my mental health is so important to me in my progression and growth. So that's kind of why I'm doing this shit. But yeah, I also need to clean my apartment. So this is like, even though I'm moving slow as shit, this is super helpful for me, giving me some sense of accountability here. No idea how this is gonna look over here. I've been doing a puzzle. I don't even know if you can see this shit. Probably. Been doing a puzzle. And right now it's just pieces all on the coffee table. And like I like to look at that and be like, sometimes like, this is my brain right now. And then like a puzzle's a great representation somehow of sometimes where my brain's at. All over the place, impossible to navigate, but piece by piece, you put it together and it looks how it's supposed to look. It takes time. You know, I'm always gonna have a mental puzzle to deal with in my life. So working through it, important. But yeah, graduated from Virginia Tech. I'm a devastated Virginia Tech Hokies football fan this year, but I'm super passionate about the program and the school, and I feel like, especially now, because I was an active alcoholic when I was at Virginia Tech, I kind of feel like now I'm embracing Virginia Tech a bit more because I'm more present in my life than I was then. And I understand how much that time frame of my life shaped me, and it happened at Virginia Tech at Blacksburg, Virginia, with a lot of people that, even though I don't keep in touch with everyone I connected with at school, I connected with so many people, and I was in a state of my life that was probably not the best, but super impactful. Challenged the way I thought, and even though I probably wasn't trying to be myself there, like, I have so much to take from my experience there, and I'm just now like seeing that. So a lot to be grateful for with Virginia Tech being my alma mater, and love sports. I went into multimedia journalism as my major because I was trying to kind of figure out what I wanted to major in when I went to community college my freshman year. And on my way to community college, I had to commute. I would listen to 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm from Massachusetts, so it was like Felger and Maz and Christian Fourier, old Patriots tight end, and a handful of other guys. It's also during Deflategate with Tom Brady. And shit, I just love Patriots football, man. Like, it's my life. It was my life for the longest time. And yeah, like some of my earliest memories are around Boston sports and Tom Brady. Truly, like many kids growing up in New England and loving sports, like idol, dude, idol. Like to this day, I question if I'm gonna run into him in person and like what I would say to him. uh, so yeah, I love sports. I still do love sports, and I think the beauty of being sober now and accepting change and understanding that life will probably be always changing and my point of view will always be changing. And I believe because I'm sober and because I made the huge step to be sober, and if I continue down this path one day at a time, my willingness to change is going to be at the forefront of my life for like a very, very long time. Um, and that excites me a lot. So forgive me with this camera shit. I'm just trying this for the first time, but I hope that was all recorded. Um, so yeah, man. Love sports. Grew up in New England, went to Virginia Tech. Now I'm hoping Virginia Tech fills the hole of the Patriots that they left with me now, being one of the worst teams in the league. But they haven't been doing so. They've been collapsing. So that's that. Got my dishes wrapped up. Just gonna spray this down. Yeah, I don't know. I also think with content and shit too, like this stuff's so much more important. And not to like toot my own horn, but like what Theo Vaughn sometimes gets vulnerable and open about, and Nick Bear, his kind of content that used to impact me as a young teenager, like 16, 17-year-old kid. Like that shit's important to have out there. And I hope this shit feels important to someone out there too. Or maybe they'll uncover it one day and be like, damn, you did hear it. Or it's important to me, I guess, is at the basis of it all. Like, the only thing you got in this life is you and your health. And that's really all you can try to control. Sometimes it's out of your control too, and it goes to, again, connecting with like faith or whatever a higher power means to you. So, shit. Be good to yourself. I got to get another be good to yourself t-shirt. I legit like think about that. I was thinking about that the other day. It's like me getting rid of that shirt was me telling myself I'm good with all this self-help thing. I got my sobriety under wraps. I don't have to be this vulnerable, open, honest guy anymore because I did that thing for a few years and maybe I was exhausted from it and I just wanted to try and live my life. But until recently, I'm accepting. Until recently, I wasn't accepting, and now I'm accepting the fact that I got a lot of work to go. It might be a lifelong journey, and I'm leaning more into being a recovering alcoholic. I think I bounce back and forth between like I'm just a guy who doesn't drink or I am truly an alcoholic in recovery. And for me, the past few weeks, it's really helped me to admit that I am an alcoholic. And that means I have an alcoholic mind, which means I kind of am addicted to and obsessive over control and fixing things. So just saying that out loud is great too, because when I do feel like over controlling over my life and getting upset and failing to reach these incredibly high expectations I have for myself and feeling like I'm a failure, it's like, hold on now. I have an alcoholic mind that loves control and loves to feel like I'm fixing shit, and that's not healthy. So if you really, really struggled with like substance abuse, like I blacked out all the fucking time, dude. Couldn't not black out. Could not black out every time I drank. So there's something deeper behind that. It's not just a guy who has one too many beers every few months. So yeah, I got an alcoholic mind. It's not healthy. I wasn't a healthy drinker. There's a reason for that. And it's been great to admit that and work through that. And then when these thoughts do happen where it's like, I'm a piece of shit, I need something to fix in my life. What's the next big challenge I can endure? I slow myself down and be like, this is negative thoughts, not really beneficial to me and how I'm feeling, and it's climbing the wrong mountain, so to speak. So I'm trying to like put everything I can into getting a good high paying job, and then I can start working on myself. You're fucked, buddy. You're fucked. You got to work on yourself first and have some faith that some good things will happen. And they will. They will. So I'm trying to think what else I need to fucking do here. I don't know. I have no idea how this video is coming out, but I'm just trying shit. Trying shit. I'm probably gonna wrap this up soon here, but yeah, I guess if anyone does listen to this or comes across it, like, one of my biggest things I want to share is just like, you're not alone if you struggle, especially if you're a man, dude, and you like struggle with sobriety or recognizing that like you have issues with drinking and drugs and you feel like shit all the time. Like, you're not alone, dude. You are not alone, and it's so much easier. And I know how hard it is to admit it, but it's so much easier to not do it alone, which is why I've found so much value in connecting with the sobriety, a sober community, and like getting so much reassurance that like all these thoughts I have, I'm not the only ones having these thoughts. Like, so many people are like this. So that's my main takeaway. I still got some cleaning to do, but this is not that productive because admittedly I'm like yapping and cleaning. I just need to clean. So have a great day.